Hey guys, so today I'm going to be building in the new NZXT H9 Elite case. It's a massive mid-tower case. They call it a dual chamber case. I'll be talking about all the things I like about it, all the things I don't like about it, what it's like to build in it, and it's honestly gonna be really sicko mode. So quick overview of the parts I'm going to be using. I'm using the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus motherboard, i9-12900K, 16 gigs of G.Skill Royal RAM, 3200 megahertz, using the Samsung 970 EVO for storage. Then I'm going to be throwing in the RTX 4080. The cooler that I'm going to be using is the Kraken Z73. This one doesn't have RGB. I wasn't able to get the one with RGB. It was all sold out everywhere, so I am just gonna throw in RGB fans on it. Power supply is gonna be the Corsair RM 1000 watt power supply. And I think that's it. Let's get cracking. All right, first things first, compared to my H5 Elite case, this thing is massive. Because it's a dual chamber case, it's gonna be extra wide because of the other chamber. This thing is not light. Interesting. Oh, I guess it's like a plastic tray so that you could mount two 140mm fans up at the top instead of three 120mm fans at the top. Interesting. That's what it is. The side of the case supports three 120mm fans as well as a 360mm radiator. The bottom supports the same, so you can have a total of 10 120mm fans as well as three 360mm radiators if you wanted to. This should make the case super cool and super sicko mode. The panel that's on the back side, it's entirely mesh, so that should help with airflow. One thing that I already like is that at least they have two bays for 3.5-inch hard drives. It's just a nice to have. A lot of people don't use them anymore, but it's a nice to have. So NZXT has a fan RGB hub built into this. It says it only supports up to 6 fans, so if you're gonna be putting more than 6 fans, definitely recommend you buy fans with another hub, just so that you can sync and control all the RGB together. They do have this little door that swings open, which is kind of neat, I guess. Yeah, let's see, is there anything weird? It's kind of like a rat's nest. Dang. How many fan splitters does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Make sure you put your RAM in the right slots so that you can actually take advantage of dual channel memory. It's different for every motherboard. I'm taking this fan out because I'm not going to be using it. Only RGB fans go in this case. Mother flipper.
Watch your profanity.
So I'm actually not a big fan of the back already. I know I haven't put all the components in, it's just I don't like this indentation. This is where the 3.5-inch drives go. It just looks like weird, like it's not supposed to be there, but whatever. We'll see how it looks. Oh wow, the whole thing comes off. Interesting. When the top comes off, the entire panel comes off. So like there's cutouts for the power button, the USB and the USB-C and the headphone jack. I wonder why they're using plastic instead of just making it metal. I hope this doesn't turn yellow over time because that would be super not sicko mode. Ooh, no, that's screwed on. The front glass doesn't pop off, you gotta unscrew it. The case does support up to ATX. Obviously it'll support micro ATX and mini ITX. When you're going with a case like this, I don't know why you would be using a mini ITX, but it works for those people who are weird. This case does come with 3 NZXT Duo fans. Duo means that there's RGB on both sides. The fans that I'm using only have it on one side. They were mostly sold out everywhere. Whenever you take off that plastic wrap from this case, just be careful. There was a lot of static and I kept seeing sparks in the case. So make sure you're doing what you can to lessen the chances of you shocking your board or any components, because honestly, that would suck if you spend all this time to put it together and then it just, you know, just doesn't turn on. You could wear anti-static straps, to be honest. Anti-static straps are for rookies. Whenever we were working on Apple phones, Apple had like these blue anti-static mats that I guess helped. I've never shocked a computer, but I think I have shocked a couple iPhones. I don't know, I think they're just more sensitive. I don't think so. I think they were just defective phones. So I am not going with the configuration that you see on the box. I'm going to be putting the radiator at the top versus on the side. I prefer the exhaust to be at the top. Also, I don't want to have to take out those fans. They're already pre-cable managed and you can take them out, it's just, I don't feel like it. So far, it's not bad to build in. The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of space in here. You don't feel crammed, you don't feel like you're gonna drop components. I have an NZXT 210 case. It can get pretty tight. I can't even change the RAM out without having to remove some of the fans. Oh my gosh. I don't know why. One of my cables is chewed. I don't know why Corsair gives you a badge that says powered by Corsair. Like, it's not even cool. Make sure in this case you mount your power supply with the fan towards the side panel because that's where the mesh is so that it can breathe in air and exhaust through the back. So you don't want to suffocate your power supply by putting it in backwards. I see that happen. When I was working at Geek Squad, some of the Geek Squad agents were doing that and I'm like, come on. I know this isn't like your dream job, but come on, just at least put the power supply right. And you know who you are. I'll route all the cables right now. It's just sometimes if you're just swapping out power supplies and you didn't unplug the motherboard, it can be a tight fit, especially with the HD audio cable when you're trying to shove the power supply in there. This case so far is easy to build in, except for this rat's nest that came with it. Like, it was zip tied, but it wasn't any different when it was zip tied. That's literally, it wasn't zip tied. It had one of those twisty things. With my H5 Elite case, I went over it like this and tried to grab something like that. And while I was doing that, my chest bent the friggin' case. So I'm not gonna make the same mistake here. This looks a little sturdier, but I'm not gonna risk it. Just too swole for that case. So we're using the Kraken Z73. Breakfast for dinner? Thanks. I'll have you know, my wife made me bacon, eggs, and avocado toast. Make sure your bracket for the water cooler is on because once the power supply is installed, you cannot access it. That wasn't an issue with the 510 Elite case because the power supply is mounted at the bottom. This power supply is mounted right behind the motherboard because it's a dual chamber case. Now we are putting 10 fans in this case. It's probably a little overkill, but we're gonna do it anyway. One thing to consider if you're going with the Z73 Kraken and the non-RGB version, I need 3 USB headers and my board only has 2. Dang. So what that means is I'm not gonna be able to control one set of lights. They're just gonna be stuck at one color. I think it's gonna default to white. Now you can get a splitter if that's the case, or if you can get the Z73 that already comes with RGB, it should come with this RGB connector with the cooler, so you don't have to have 3 separate USB headers on the motherboard. Let's route the PCIe connectors. I need 3 of them because I'm using a 4080. When a screw falls in the case and you can't find it, that's like one of the most annoying things. Like I said, the cooling configuration that I have is that these are intakes. Those look like they're exhaust, but they're actually intakes. Looks like the front, but it's actually the back, I made sure. Intake, airflow comes in theory should go up and then exhaust up and out and then exhaust out here. It should create enough pressure so that the airflow is flowing out the exhaust. I don't think we'll have an issue with heat at all. Now that she's built, well, let's go ahead and boot her up. Let's see if she boots. First try. Hopefully all the fans turn on too. So this is the first time I'm going to be powering it on. Hopefully everything turns on and it boots. And it boots. CPU is at 26 degrees. That's not bad. Let's see if I can turn it some. It isn't ideal to have it like this because I have 2 big computers. Neither of them is full tower. They're just bulky mid-tower computers. I would probably have that one over here. Maybe I'll do that. Right now, idle temps for the CPU are 26 degrees. The GPU is at 31 degrees Celsius. What do I like about this case? Well, I like the way it looks. Relatively easy to build in it because it has so much space in the back. Like when you compare it to this Corsair case, they're actually very similar in size. That one just is a tiny bit wider. That was actually so hard to build in. It is super tight back there. They're both mid-towers. That's the Corsair 678C, I believe. Not only that, there's so much more space in the case. So in theory, you should get really good temps. Like right now, I'm running Cinebench. I'm only 2 minutes in. My CPU is at 71 degrees. which is pretty good for an i9. I've actually had close to 100 degrees. I put it in the mini ITX case with an air cooler and it did not like that. Because it has so much real estate inside the case, it does make it easier for people who want to do custom loop water coolers. You're definitely capable of building high-end PCs with this. Now, my H5 Elite, I really like it. The only thing is you are not able to even put a triple fan radiator in. It only allows for a dual fan radiator. So the H5 Elite case is a gaming case. If you're trying to do video editing, 3D rendering, this case is meant for the i9s, the Ryzen 9s. It's just meant to have a beefy cooler inside so that you can get the best performance out of your CPUs. Now, as far as sound goes, it is kind of noisy. These fans are not the quietest fans. Anytime there's load on the CPU, you can hear them kick on. One thing that I may be concerned with is this right here, the glass. It just feels like if you accidentally nick it with something, it'll just shatter. I'm running Cinebench really quick. I just want to see what kind of temps I get. So I did Cinebench in my H5 Elite case with the i9 12900K already. So during Cinebench in the H5 Elite, my max temp was 84 degrees Celsius with the i9. In the H9 Elite, I got 76. So 8-degree difference. My scores were also different. I got 26,305 with the H5 Elite, and I got 27,167 with the H9 Elite. Not only am I scoring better, but I'm also getting cooler temps. One reason why I'm getting cooler temps is because I'm also using a better cooler. It's a triple fan radiator versus the dual fan radiator. I also have a bigger case. That should allow heat to spread better, I guess. Klaus is pretty curious. He wants to know what's going on. He's not used to that computer being there. Sometimes he sleeps on that core staircase, so he's probably like, what the flip? What are you doing back there, huh? What's going on? He's in my chair, so I'll finish the video here. Overall, it was an easy case to build in. If you choose to go with this many fans, you will have a lot of wires and you will have to do a lot of cable managing. You do have a lot of space to do that, so it's fine. I'll make another video where I do some gaming benchmarks. I'll do some actual gaming. I'll see what kind of performance I get, what kind of temps I get. So far, this thing is looking like it's a beast. The highest temp I've seen is 76 degrees, which was in Cinebench. I don't see the temp getting any higher than that. Cinebench is a strictly CPU benchmark. Gaming utilizes the GPU and the CPU, and typically it does not put 100% load on the CPU for the entire time you're gaming. If you're wanting to build an elite PC with high-end parts, i9s, Ryzen 9s, if you want beefy GPUs, there's a 4080 in there. I'm sure with the 4090 temps will be perfectly fine as well. Honestly, I think it's a really good looking case. Yes, they did copy Lean Lee, but there's also other cases out there that look like this. So NZXT is a little late to the game, but it looks pretty sicko mode in my opinion. Is there anything else, Klaus? Did I ever get anything? I guess not. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I will be doing my best to put more content out. I do this because I really love computers. I really love trying different configurations, building them. Hopefully this video helps if you're deciding between an H9 case or an H5 Elite. The H5 Elite is perfect for gaming. It's just if you're gonna be using it for heavy CPU workloads, the H9 is definitely the way to go. You ready to say goodnight, Klaus? Peace. Peace.